All right. So slides part 2. We were last here. So I went through, once again, Osaka, Kyoto, and Nara, and eventually Tokyo. And last time I showed some slides from Osaka and Nara. And we got partway through Kyoto, but Kyoto is super awesome, so we didn't get through it all. So it's got a special treat for today, because starting off in Kyoto in one of my favorite parts, which is Arashiyama. It's the northwestern section of Kyoto. It's most famous for having bamboo groves. So you have these like really tall sets of bamboo that's just everywhere around the paths. There's also quite a few like temples and shrines in this area as well, if you walk around. So this is the Nonomiya Shrine. Let's see, looks like I found a moss garden. Yeah, once again I got the red torii gates for Shinto shrines. Fox deity. Okay. Oh yeah, we got some more bamboo. Tenryuji Gardens, okay. So yeah, Tenryuji is a fairly large temple complex. And it has a proper garden. It's a pretty large one. And there's a place, I don't know what this thing is. I kind of wonder. I think it might be like an inking slate. So like if you're doing Japanese calligraphy, there's something that looks like that, but flat. And then you mix the ink in it. And once you have that, you can use the brush to paint on letters. But I'm not sure if that's what this is. But I've seen it in like one or two places where you've got some sort of like large, what would you call it? Not a, something like the Lincoln Memorial, a tall thing, an obelisk, except it's not an obelisk. But yeah, this is more of the gardens. It's got a little river through. Oh yeah, and it's got like a whole area. You can like go up onto the hill inside the garden and look down. So here we go. It's looking a little bit down from the mountain. Now upstairs.
Are you doing the speakers for this as well?
Yep. I figured recording would be useful. So yeah, we're still in the gardens. Moss gardens. Moss. Yeah, and this garden also has an open area, so there's a series of temples looking out onto a lake that's nearby. Panoramic again. But yeah, can't stop me from going into gardens. I will find them all. That random trellis in here. All right, so now we're back on the road. And the bamboo, it's everywhere. Bamboo. So yeah, in a lot of cases you're like walking down these paths and you're just surrounded by bamboo. Let's see, this garden. Let me see, yeah, this is a hillside garden with an overlook area. Forget the name of the place, though. It was near the Tenryuji Gardens. Yes, so that would be marking probably a grave site or similar. Does have something to do with the dead. Let me see. Oh yeah, the story for this garden is a little bit interesting. So this garden is actually owned by like a famous like Japanese movie star. It was a shrine or temple when this particular actor was young, and he liked it so much that he eventually came back and just bought the whole area after he'd gotten famous. This is owned by someone in the entertainment industry. Oh yeah, so this is a nice overlook. We've got a lot of like, what do you call it, momiji, red maple leaves and other colors all the way through here. So Kyoto is surrounded by mountains in general, which is, I think I mentioned that as part of getting really hot there during the summer, so you have to be careful when you show up. But yeah, so yeah, most of Kyoto is just in the bowl of a whole bunch of mountains. And you can't see it here, but there is one place on the mountain where it's got like a picture of a person carved in. Sometimes it's lit up at night. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have a photo of that here, but that's in Kyoto as well.
Do you know who it was?
Oh, the person who owned the temple.
Who was carved into a mountain?
It's the symbol for a person, and I don't remember what the significance is. It's easily visible from the Golden Pavilion, which I think I had photos of before. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Just random interesting trash cans, because the Japanese make everyday objects into little artistic pieces in some cases. Let me see. Where are we now? Whoa, okay. So this is what happens if you actually get inside of a temple. There's usually some relics that are inside. Let me see if I can make this any bigger. Let me see. Can I say anything interesting about this? Yeah, I don't know enough about the relic types to say anything useful. Huh. This flower I've seen in a bunch of different places, though, so it probably has a particular meaning. It's not a chrysanthemum, though. Chrysanthemum flowers are tied to the Japanese imperial family, so you tend to see them in various places. But this is something different. I'm not sure. So let's see. Temple grounds. Yeah, and a lot of the temple shrine areas have these like large bells.
You get to ring them?
You do get to ring them. So
It looks like you could reach it from
yeah. So what I've been able to infer is oftentimes people will walk up, they'll ring it, presumably to summon the spirit, do a little prayer clap, and somewhere in there, if there's a coin thing, you usually toss a coin in there. But this one is just a bell by itself.
Did you ring the bell?
Oh no, I didn't. I watched several other people do it. Not this time. I think I did the first trip. Always a little iffy if there's a place that's like an active temple area. I'm like, don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do here. Maybe I'll just let the people who clearly do know what they're doing just do their thing.
like crypts.
Yeah, so this particular complex has I guess burial places for some of the founders of the particular like temple area. There's quite a few of them, and I just thought that was a neat path. This is I didn't go into this. This is a I think it's a kabuki museum in Kyoto, or no, it's the Japanese Dolls Museum. I didn't end up actually going in there, but I thought it was an interesting thing out there. Oh, let me see. And this is a series of like 8 stones, which is famous for some reason because it was marked on a map in Japanese, but I don't know what the significance is. Let's see. This is probably climbing the Northwest Mountains up to the place with, yes, okay, so this is an area. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I think this is a water tower thing, but I'm not sure. All right, this place. Yes, so this is a like a temple area in the it's the furthest northwest temple, and it has a crazy long name. Let me see if I can find that. Let me see. That's weird. It's not giving me any of my descriptions. Oh my gosh. Adashin no Nembutsuji. Anyway, super big one. So anyway, this particular temple is famous because one of the monks who was there carved thousands of little Buddha statues, most of which are fairly significantly eroded at this point. But yeah, there's just this field of little Buddha statues. Local deity seemed to be the raccoon. Oh hey, and this one had the temple actually open as well. That's cool. Okay, and here are all the raccoons doing things. Right, and it had a bell right on the outside of this area. Okay. All right. Where are we now? Oh yeah, this is a really like wide open complex. So there's a whole bunch of gravel, and then there's some like really enormous buildings on all sides of it. I think I found a garden. What is this? Hokyo-in. Yep, okay. Temple and moss gardens. Yeah, so there's a little bit of, yeah, so it's got the Zen gravel there. It's got a very small ghost bridge, it looks like, which is kind of interesting.
The fact that these are moss gardens, is the climate around there like relatively humid most of the time?
Yes, yes, I'd say so, particularly in summer. So in summer you get the double whammy, it's hot and humid. Yeah, moss gardens and like the Zen rock gardens, and then just the usual like flower gardens around lakes and similar seem to be fairly common. Oh yeah, and I thought this was weird because this is like almost like a European style statue, but there's the fish thing again. That's like on all the corners of the like the large castle buildings. So let's see. Going around the gardens. Oh yeah, I thought this was fun. Kyoto police mascot, apparently.
Of course they are.
Complete with bow and arrow. This is someone who is a big fan of Miku Hatsune. She's an interesting character. She's yeah, she's from Vocaloid. She's like a mascot character from a voice synthesizer program that got super famous.
Oh yeah, Vocaloids are like, they are rock stars that have traveling concerts. They are fictional characters, and they do like hologram performances with like live orchestras and stuff. Mike and Sam actually went to a concert
did they?
here recently.
Oh, that's
yeah.
funny. I've never tried one of those concerts.
It sounded kind of insane.
But something interesting about this character is the company in question explicitly waived copyright on it. So there's just so much fan art of this character. It's just unbelievable on the internet. So apparently they'll do car decals too. So let's see. Oh, hey, this is, I forget where this is, but they had some really neat folding screens. So let's see. Some trees, some moss.
Oh, those are big.
Yeah. Some bamboo shoots here.
These are like full-size sliding doors.
Oh, yeah.
Those,
Absolutely. Most of the screens that I saw in temples and similar had like they'd, I guess eroded is the wrong word, but sort of faded out. It's kind of neat seeing them. Oh, haha! I remember this. Okay, so this is an interesting temple complex where I have no pictures. So there's a very large temple, and they had like a whole bunch of people greeting, and I paid my entrance fee, and there was like a chanting monk who I came up to, and he rubbed incense on my hands, and he like took me into their treasure room. There was a bunch of people there, and people standing around the treasure room making sure you didn't do anything weird. This is a very unusual, like super staffed, obviously active facility. Yeah, I think there was like a group of not just the monk that I ran into directly, but there was like a group that was like going around and chanting. And yeah, I asked the question. I was like, I don't know about photos here, and he's like, nope, no photos here. So, but they did let me take this one photo where I was facing away from all the buildings. I was like, can I take a photo of your lake? Like, yes, you can take a photo of our lake. So, oh, and there's Zen Garden. But that's it. And a few screens. This is just a close-up on one of their doors, which I thought was interesting. Well, not exactly a door, a partition. So where are we at? Oh, that's got to be the chrysanthemums. Yeah, so these are chrysanthemum flowers on this particular building, so it's probably somehow affiliated with the imperial shrines or temples. That is not a water clock, but it is a thing that puts water out. There's some places where they have water clocks where there's something that is like moves water through it like this, but it's on something that rotates. So it pours water for a while, and then it goes clunk and hits a rock, and it lets a whole bunch of water out, and so it goes back up again. So it just makes little clicking noises every so often. Food. About $20. This is one of the more expensive ones.
It's a lot of
Nice setup.
food.
Yeah.
Nice setup.
Yeah, so this is a Japanese washoku hot pot setup. So they tend to have lots of little tiny dishes. I don't know what most of these are. That's hot pot. I don't know what most of these are. But they're all tasty. The nice thing about Japanese food is you always feel good, not just while you're eating it, but you also feel good after you've eaten it, which is not always the case here. All right, it's Arashiyama. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit faster. So this is last day in Kyoto. So by the way, there's a lot of people everywhere in Japan. So there's like people trying to fit onto the subway. It's not quite working in this case. So this is the Fushimi Inari Taisha, which is like in the top seven most important imperial shrines in Japan. This one has the fox deity, its main thing. See if I can find, there's a better picture. This particular shrine, yeah, so these are sort of guardian things on the sides of the gates. Yeah, this particular shrine is famous for having a lot of red torii gates that all lead up into the mountains.
Is there anyone like that?
Come again?
Are there any other places that are famous for having a whole bunch of torii gates along the road?
Probably, but probably not as many as this shrine. So this one, yeah, this one has gates. Let me just go forward a little bit. Yeah, so they're pretty large gates, and they go all the way up the mountain. Apparently, most of the gates are sponsored, like most of the individual gates are sponsored by a local business. So you can't see it from this direction, but there's kanji written on every single one of these torii gates, which is different, which is probably the name of the business that sponsored it, is my guess. And yeah, clearly,
Those little gate charms.
yes, yeah, they know what you're here for. You're here to see the long line of red gates.
That's a cute gimmick for the
Hey,
charms.
here's a monk.
So,
Let's see.
Sorry, the monk who is in front of the that like big pavilion. What is that big pavilion used for?
I don't know. So this is I know it's not used for praying because that's the building that's behind him that you can't see from here. But yeah, I couldn't tell you.
It looks like something where you could have an audience on the outside if you wanted to,
Yeah,
like watching
it
whatever's
could
going
be.
on.
It could be a stage. Actually, they have speakers on it right now. That's fun.
Oh, and there's a microphone in the middle. It looks like as you're
It's
zooming in.
fun. Yeah, and we've got the lightning things as always. Let's see. There's our fox deity again. This is just going through all the gates with all the other people going through the gates and the tour guides going through the gates too because they have flags. That was pretty neat. Okay, yeah, and this is looking back, and I was like, what? What are all these kanji? What are all these kanji?
They're just saying when is it built.
Hmm?
They're just saying when it is built.
Oh, when it was built?
Yeah.
Actually, wait, yeah, that's a number.
Yeah, just whatever year, whatever month, blah blah blah, they built it.
I wonder if these are any different.
So charting the progress
that's-
of time of
yeah,
how
that's a-
long it took to get these things up, I guess.
Yeah, that's a 4. Let's see, I can't see the rest. It's okay. Oh yeah, and they sell charms, among other things. And of course it has the Fox Guardians.
It's a cute fox.
Oh, and the foxes. So,
Draw a face on them.
yeah. I like how it enforces the, has to have the eyebrows. They all have to have the eyebrows. Okay, that's most of it.
Send that picture to Mike. I think Mike would get a kick out of that. He likes foxes.
So let's see, this is just walking around. Food. And people in kimonos, which happens a lot in Kyoto. Where are we now? I don't know where this is. Let's see. Temple Garden. Oh, right. Tofukuji is a place that I stopped in briefly. Right, okay.
Can we go back to Arashiyama, like the beginning of Arashiyama really fast? There was something in the picture I thought, oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Anything in particular?
This is further back than I thought.
So let's see.
Okay, I thought Arashiyama.
Let's see.
Oh, okay, maybe it was like right before the beginning of this. There was something on the ground. It went by really fast.
Let me see if I can find it.
I think it's way back. Like if you click
Oh.
on,
Was it like an orange thing that was just like a little freestanding thing in a courtyard? 'Cause there was something on the ground that went past and I was like, I wonder what that was.
yeah. Can you click on Kyoto? Is that?
Let's see.
What's
I'm
the
just
beginning of it's like near the beginning of this section. And you clicked on, I think when you clicked on Kyoto 5.
So
yeah, it's like it was just a couple before this. It was like a few back.
a few back, huh?
A few more back.
Maybe it's at the end of Arashiyama. It was before or after the meal.
It was after this.
Well,
I don't know.
yeah, I'll just flash through this
Right
relatively
before we saw
quickly.
those archers, I thought. Right there.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the thing I saw too. Next one.
Whoop.
Who's
But what the heck is that orange
that a
thing
cat?
on the ground? That looks like
Oh
a
yeah,
cat.
that's a cat.
that?
The cat's like, oh hi there.
From a distance, it looks like a big snail.
It does.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Oh yeah, and this is just like a regular building that's like nearby, because why not?
Miscellaneous cats.
Let's see. Right, so this is the last day I was in Kyoto, so I wanted to make really sure I wanted to get to a particular garden. Right, okay. This is not the Tenjuan Gardens. This is another just gardening area, which is nice. There's a different set of chanting people here. This time I got pictures. Let's see.
Some of them have arrows. The guy on the left.
Yep, yep. So got some lanterns, got some arrows.
Some bows leaning against the side there.
Yeah. So I forget exactly what they're doing, and this won't bring up my movie, but yeah, this is sort of like a ravine. So you can walk through all the trees and similar that are in there, and there's an overlook from the temple itself. Oh hey, it's the chrysanthemums again. Now we found a Zen garden. Zen rock garden. Someone was cutting those hedges. Whoop. Here we go. Still in the same Zen garden. Yeah. Again, it's moss.
I like how it kind of like fades out as you get away from the edges.
Oh yeah, wasabi burger. Apparently the thing they make.
Is that McDonald's?
Nope, this is something like Dragon Burger or something. Yes, Dragon Burger. Their particular burger place. I don't know. Looks like they've got enough media stuff going on that they must have multiple locations, or they're very organized.
Maybe like a cow burger on the other menu before.
Let's see what it
At the
says.
bottom, cacao barbecue.
Oh, cacao,
Ooh.
Chocolate.
like chocolate barbecue. Yeah, this is a little intermediate price. It's like $15. This is a little expensive for lunch, but this is like on a very, very well-trafficked intersection. Like you pretty much have to go through this intersection if you're coming from the particular temple area I was just at, and you're like going to the station. It's like, well, you can come this way or you can come that way, but either way you got to turn at this corner. And right at this corner is this burger shop. Fairly well trafficked too. Took them like almost 20 minutes to get me something. All right, Tenjuan Gardens. Really like this garden. So there's in Kyoto there's a series of temples on the east side of Kyoto that goes up in a line from north to south or south to north, called the Philosopher's Path, which apparently is where a particular philosopher in days past used to take his walk around a particular series of like temples and shrines in an area. On the very southern part of the Philosopher's Path is the temple complex Nanzenji. It's sort of an intermediate size, but it's got like 3 or 4 different buildings that you can enter there. And one of them is this garden, which is the Tenjuan Garden, which I did not know of I never knew it existed before I came to Japan the first time, but it was one of my favorite gardens when I came the first time. It's got a little entryway, some moss and some interesting paths. It's got a little zen thing. Got some trees, so many different path types. And here you can't see as well as I did the first time, but there's this lake in back with like bridges that are going all around it up and over. It looked really spectacular the first time. Here it looks kind of average, but I still like it. And there's some fish in there. All right. Hey, I found fish. Okay. I think that's mostly it for that garden. Oh yeah, also in the non-Zenji complex, it has aqueducts. I don't know why, but they're there. There's a lot of people.
Are they actually carrying water, or are they just trestles for something?
It's carrying something. I don't think I got. Did I get a photo? I don't know. Is this actually from the top? This might be from the top. Yeah, I think it was carrying something. If this is actually a picture of it, then yes. So I didn't stay too much in non-Zenji. Oh hey, Coke has their own thing, and there's the person symbol on the mountain that they put there. Lost garden. Oh yes, there was a really neat garden I went into, but there's no photos because they didn't allow it, and they had like guards everywhere enforcing it. I was like, I guess I'm not sneaking any photos of this place, am I? So yeah, so that's all of Kyoto. So yeah, if it wasn't obvious, gardens, temples, shrines. This is what I'm here for Kyoto. Tokyo gets a little bit more interesting because, hey, it's metropolitan time. Except we'll start somewhere that's not quite. So this is near Ueno. Ueno is a district in Japan where it has most of the major museums. It has a zoo. If you're arriving in Tokyo from the airport, there's something called the Skyliner that goes from the airport, which is way the heck far away, directly to the Ueno area. It takes like 20 or 30 minutes, even though it's like a direct line, because the airport is really far away. So in Ueno, near the museum area, next to it, there's a pond, Shinobazu Pond, which has a bunch of these in it. These are actually, come to think of it, these look like the same kind of plant that was that like mystery flower in the temple that I showed you before. There was like a golden flower of some kind. So maybe it's the same thing, but I don't know what they are. Anyway, it's a nice pond.
Universal pigeons.
Yes, the pigeons have found something. All right.
No Pokemon
Yes.
Star.
So,
Wildlife Reserve.
yeah, so now we're in Akihabara, which is like the place where you buy electronics, or if you care about manga or comic books or whatnot, there's a lot of cultural items of that kind. This was just in a random store that I was in. I just thought it was hilarious. So hey, if you want a figure of a character that you know, they are here waiting for you. This blows me away. Like, this is actually a 3D model, but it looks like an illustration. They did really well on that. Anyway.
Someone sitting through there, I think.
Yeah, where did she go?
There
Oh,
it
hi.
is.
Here we found our Vocaloid character. She's the person we saw painted on the car earlier. and Sakura, and Code Geass, and a zillion others. Hunter x Hunter. Oh wow, that's old.
Detective Conan.
Yeah, Detective Conan. Wow, he's been around forever. And of course, Totoro, because you can't have figurines without Totoro. And the rest of the Ghibli universe. And My Hero Academia, which is popular now. Let's see if people remember it in 10 years. Now for some US stuff, which I thought was fun. RoboCop
Oh no.
and our president.
I like the Daredevil.
Yeah, right. Right next to him.
Yeah.
And other fictional characters.
I love it.
Yeah, between Daredevil and Pinhead.
I guess he is frightening.
Yuna's the cap.
What's the extra head for?
Oh, you
It's
want to
a
give him a
different
different
expression.
expression. You can replace it with
Yeah.
the not speaking expression.
Some of the boxed figurines. Weird. Some of the boxed figurines have multiple heads for multiple expressions. It's like one I saw, it had like 6 different.
Oh god, one of the hands was the thumbs up hand.
And Evangelion, because Evangelion refuses to go away, even though it's been like 30 years. Maybe not that long. It's been at least 20. Slayers, which probably no one remembers except me. Oh, here we go. Here's the one with like all the different head. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. You can like looks like you can replace her face separately from
Yep.
the ears based on the.
So yeah. And more figures. Oh, Kit Kats. There's a lot of Kit Kats. In the US, we know like 3 of them. But there's like 30 or 40 worldwide flavors. Yeah, matcha, and then the strawberry is here. And I don't know what this one is.
Yeah, I've heard some of the flavors are pretty good.
But yeah, I like the matcha Kit Kats, which is the one I saw, and that's super old. Hello, Tezuka. So Osamu Tezuka is one of the more famous manga illustrators from way back in the day. This is, let me think, this is Blackjack, one of his older properties. And let's see, this is newer. Sword Art Online.
That was Smut Up for Magic Eye.
Yes, so yeah, they're using. So that building is actually a pachinko parlor, which is like slot machines, gambling, that sort of thing. Very frequently seem to be anime themed in some way. They're very loud if you actually go in, and usually the people are allowed to smoke inside as well. So it's a little smoky in many cases, but mostly it's just loud. So this is like the buildings around Akihabara. And, oh, okay, now we're warping over to Shinjuku, which is a very major like transit center, transit zone. We're in the Tokyo Metropolitan Tower. So this is a pretty good city overlook. You can see all the skyscrapers here.
Do you know what building that like set of 3 towers is?
I don't. There are placards, so if you're looking at any direction from here, there's a placard that tells you these are what all the buildings are. But I don't know any of the names. But yeah, Shinjuku is a pretty large area.
You know, I've heard Tokyo is a big city, but now I'm actually seeing that, and we just saw Kyoto. Kyoto's a lot smaller, isn't it?
Yeah. Uh-huh. And this is only like inner Tokyo. If you're dealing with Greater Tokyo, I mean, it's probably an hour by train to go to each side of it. Those trains are moving pretty fast too. And oh yeah, if you get lost, call this number. Don Quixote. It's an everything store, which I don't have too many pictures of.
Some great cakes.
Yes, they're really good at presentation, especially in food. Curry katsudon. Hooray. Which you have to order from these machines and be able to read quickly. Let me see, this would be probably Shinjuku at night. Something that I'll point out here is retail buildings in Japan that are in skyscrapers are actually vertical, which is why they have it's why they have all these crazy signs, because you have to know what's on each level, because it's not all on the first floor. Like you might have to walk the third, fourth, fifth, or even sixth floor to get to places.
They can have the floor shine.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see what else we got here. Oh yes, the robot restaurant. This was a show I went to. It is very, very over the top. Let me see.
Found Waldo?
I found Waldo. I found all the Waldos.
Oh my gosh, I want one.
I also found all the Pikachus.
Can't wait for them.
And we still have political things over there that are pertain to this country, which is strange. I don't know what I don't know what the Japanese prime minister is doing, but they know some of the stuff that's happening over here. All right, some more buildings at night. Oh yeah, so this area is called Kabukicho, Kabuki district. The district was named this way in an effort to attract a kabuki theater to appear in the district.
Did it work?
It did not actually work, but it did attract like a whole bunch of other entertainment stuff. So yeah, Kabukicho is like the entertainment district around Shinjuku. Let me see. There's a robot restaurant again. Okay, robot restaurant. There's lots of shiny stuff inside. Even the bathrooms are shiny. It's just like totally over the top. Yeah,
Nice.
so
Sort of a Daft Punk thing going on.
yeah.
Sort of an acoustic Daft Punk.
So yeah, this is really crazy. You have like shelter. I mean, what is going on here? They have light bulb drinks that glow.
That's awesome.
They've got these giant animatronic things. It's sort of Japanese inspired, like some ninja stuff here, but also not. Whoop, did it reorder my photos? It totally reordered my photos. Fun.
Wow.
This is what?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
nice.
giant snake. Giant triceratops
That is the coolest battle triceratops I've ever seen.
with machine guns. I mean, let me see. This is like a robot that's walking around. Like this is just ridiculous. This is just totally ridiculous.
It's like a parade in the.
Anyway, mixed recommendation. If you want something completely crazy and over the top, this is your thing. But I'm not sure there's too much substance behind it. But it was kind of fun. Let's see. All right. Oh yeah, I finally got myself into a proper attire here. So this is actually a I guess traditional hotel dress. If you were walking around the hotel and you wanted to say go to the baths in there, you'd be wearing this.
Were you just trying that on?
Yeah. I also did need to go to the baths at one point, so I figured it would be proper.
So that was something the hotel was providing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there's you can also rent like kimonos for outdoors from lots of vendors in various places, especially around Kyoto. I don't know if I saw any around Tokyo. There's a lot in Kyoto. Let me see. What was I doing here? Oh, I was attempting to visit the Imperial Palace and discovered that was not possible. Can't see it properly here. Biggest thing about the site of the Imperial Palace is they've got a ton of land like right in the middle of Tokyo. They don't necessarily have so much that's on it. Oh, here's the Tokyo Station. So this is the very first station that was constructed in the Shinkansen network in Japan. It has, yeah. So this is the left. So it has like a left main atrium and a right main atrium, and it has a center area as well. When it was first constructed, the center atrium was a like you could only enter there if you were the imperial family. So I had like a special entrance for them. They also had special train cars for the imperial family. I don't know what they do now for this, but it's not walled off. Tokyo Hands. It's a department store that has just lots and lots and lots of things. Here's a whole bunch of different money from different places, which I thought was cool. There's some clocks. All the rubber duckies you could want. All right, now we're warping again. Back to Shinjuku. This time to their very, very large city, like public city garden. This thing's pretty neat. So in this area, it's like a Japanese style garden. Over here, it's a formal French garden with like rose beds and similar. And then up here, it's an English style garden, so it's more open space with different types of trees and similar. This is yeah. I think I spent like half the day just walking around here. Oh yeah, it has a forested section too. Yeah, so there's forest here. So let's see, I think I went in the forest first. So now we're getting to like the part that's a Japanese garden. Yeah. Oh, and they had a special chrysanthemum exhibit. So this is what a real chrysanthemum looks like. It's a little different than what the idealized versions are. Let's see. Still in the Japanese garden. Pretty neat. Let me see. I think we're still in the Japanese-ish area. So chrysanthemums naturally grow on cliffs and similar, so they tend to appear in this sort of flowing shape when they're actually found in the wild. In this case, they're, trying to
They're trained.
Yeah, they're trying to force the chrysanthemums into something that looks more like their natural form. Here we go. Yeah. Kengai style. Okay. So yeah, they had like little chrysanthemum booths, like everywhere in the city garden. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a sweet treat. This thing is made of some sort of like rice, some sort of sticky rice. It's very gooey. Let's see. This is super close up of the French formal gardens. They have roses. I didn't get a good like overview picture. Now we're in the like English style gardens, which I don't think I took too many photos of. Back to Japanese. Oh, and there's a greenhouse, which had things in it. Okay. Yeah, now we're warping. Let me think. Now we're going to Shibuya, which is like where all the fashionable teens hang out and shop for clothes. And I don't think I took too many pictures. No, I sure didn't. So Takeshita Street. Let me see. Oh, yes. And I thought this was interesting. Amazon Fashion. So this billboard is in a very special location. It's at like the intersection of like the super teen fashion street and the like young adult fashion street. So this is probably like one of the most expensive places you could put like a fashion billboard up. I'm like, and there's Amazon coming for your clothing now too, along with everything else. So, oh yeah, and I found a Thai restaurant. They're pretty rare over there. So I had some some Thai. Had to go upstairs though. All right. This is an interesting place. So this is a day trip to a further out part of Tokyo. So I think this took like 20 minutes to get to. Open air architectural museum. So it's sort of a large green area where they have transported buildings. This is a photo studio, and they insisted that they take a photo of me in a photo studio from the 1930s because they had one.
That's a nice portrait.
Hey. The mascot character for the area was designed by Hayao Miyazaki. who actually who lives near this area. This is fairly near Mitaka, where the Ghibli Museum and presumably he lives. He actually took inspiration from several of the buildings in this museum when designing the architecture in his films. In particular, Spirited Away, the bathhouse construction and things around it are inspired by some of the stuff here. So this is kind of hard to get pictures because they're just buildings. So I've got some indoors and outdoors. It's really neat, highly recommended if you actually do go there, because you get to see like inside like Japanese style houses of different eras that normally you wouldn't be able to go inside unless you were family or similar. So I think this is like a samurai's house, or like a war minister or something. Someone who was fairly high up. Random tram.
Speaking of Spirited Away.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah. I've seen some Ghibli trams that look like that. Let me see. This is a neighborhood. Shitamachi? Yeah, Shitamachi neighborhood reconstruction. Let me see. Yeah, this would be a kitchen supply store. Tobacco store? Let me think about this. Umbrella maker. So the traditional Japanese umbrellas. Fairly labor intensive to make. You don't see them much these days. But you used to have a craftsperson that just specialized in that. Oh hey, it's a bathhouse. Also something you don't normally ever get to take pictures inside. So let me see if I can actually describe this properly. Yeah, so it's a little, so you go in, you walk through the correct curtain. Be sure you can read the curtain, otherwise you may be walking inside the women's bath rather than the men's bath. Drop your clothes in a basket. You can see a little bit here. There are faucets, so you clean yourself before you get into the actual tubs because the tubs are shared water. They get very upset if you get soap in the shared tubs. And around this time period, they started putting like large murals inside their bathhouses. And something that the guides mentioned while I was there, this type of arch, which you see often on like temples and shrines and similar, they started using that for bathhouse entrances as well. Don't know
Can you
why.
go back to the bathhouse inside? So that's where you take your bath?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And then those faucets where you are supposed to wash yourself, they look like they're like right next to the ground.
They are. So there are these really tiny, they're kind of like buckets turned upside down that you sit on, and you just sort of sit and clean yourself.
Yeah, splash water
Yep.
rather than submerge.
Right. And then take bucket. Hopefully you're clean. Do that 2 or 3 times, and you're probably good.
I kept imagining like in anime shows and stuff that I've seen where people are swimming like outdoors surrounded by rocks. That's what I thought. Like, kind of thought that was like a typical bathhouse, honestly.
So
Is it like a hot spring or something?
so there's a reasonably significant difference between a hot spring and a place where you can swim. Like if you're swimming, you have a swimsuit. If you're in I guess this would be a public bath, a sento. If you have a sento, you are not wearing a swimsuit. That's no bueno. But yeah, obviously, if you're swimming, and there's usually swimming is mixed gender, so you'd have a swimsuit at that point.
But there are also like outdoor soaking hot spring type.
There
baths,
are,
right?
but you wouldn't swim.
Yeah,
You wouldn't swim in them because if you were to swim in them, you'd get your hair in the water, and if you got your hair in the water, you'd be messing the water up. So, don't wash your hair after you get in. They don't like that either. Had several opportunities where I ran into various placards that's like, you probably don't know the rules here. Please don't do any of these things. So, sort of interesting. Let's see, sake cellar. This is a police box. I'm almost out of time here. But police boxes, they're everywhere in Japan. They're in every single ward, which is kind of like a neighborhood. They're usually staffed by one person. As far as I can tell, their main societal function is to give a place where you can ask for directions, because Japanese directions are very complicated, because the roads don't have names. And the buildings have numbers, but they're numbered based on the order that they're built in, which has nothing to do with where they are. So if building 1 and building 2 may be completely on the opposite sides of the neighborhood. So you get an address that tells you to go to blah, blah, blah ward, and then some other random stuff. Well, go to the ward, find the police box, give them the address, and then have them tell you where you should go from there. Typically, addresses are not given out just as the textual address, but there's also like a picture, like a tiny map on the business card that they give you, so you can find your way back. Apparently this police box has a place you could sleep in it. So maybe one police person is sleeping, the other one's on duty. Going through more buildings in the park.
Wait, is the character's name Edamaru?
Edomaru. Yeah. And this is a random park I went to that's near the Ghibli Museum. It was actually really nice. Not as heavily maintained, because you can see their leaves fallen. Like everywhere else, like all the leaves are cleaned up completely. I don't know how they do it. But here this is a lesser maintained. It's a random piano thing. Oh, and there's the Ghibli Museum, which I did not get inside because it's really hard to get tickets. If you want to get inside the Ghibli Museum, reserve 3 months in advance. 1 month is not good enough. And I'll just flash this by since we're basically out of time. There's a railway museum as well. It goes on like the high-speed trains and just the rail network in general. They have a train that they rotate on the platform every like hour or so with like a full ceremony. So trains. Unfortunately, almost all of the exhibit text is in Japanese, so I can't tell anything except the exhibit titles. If I brought my friend Richard, he'd be able to translate the whole thing. But all right, this is also interesting. So this is the very first Shinkansen. They've gone through like 3 different iterations. The very first ones were always blue and white. So blue and white trains, blue and white station area. Hey, we still have Hikari. We still have Hikari Shinkansen. That's it. That's all of Japan.
Very
At
nice.
least the part that I saw.
Yeah, thanks for showing your pictures.
It's awesome.
Cool.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I was just thinking like,
Yeah, if you
where
need-
to go? Where would I go?
Yeah, if you need tips, come poke me. I've now been there twice, and to some places several times. All right, thanks for joining.